You know, you really gotta love comments that were made by Special Olympians because they always find a way to make it unintentionally hilarious because of all the things they get wrong within the first two sentences, maybe even the first three or four sentences of an entire paragraph. And the fact is, keep in mind, this person doesn't really know anything about me, as some of their comments inside this comment itself will explain. But let's just read this because this is actually funny to me that this person got so pissed off so quickly about fucking nothing. Great, YouTube has finally reached the stage where they're allowing throwing incels, trying to make commentary channels about locals, now in the algorithm, and on my front page. Great. You realize you can just click the not interested pane and just have that not be a problem, right? You can literally just pretend I don't exist. You didn't even need to make a comment. You could have just said, fuck this guy, I don't care. Although I do appreciate that you're showing me just how fucking dumb you are, because the first thing out of your mouth is incel within the first two fucking sentences. The fact that you immediately accuse someone of being an incel when you legitimately have no idea about the marital status or relationship status is kind of sad, because it shows that your repertoire of insults and comebacks is so incredibly limited that you can only call people a handful of internet buzzwords that have essentially been rendered almost completely meaningless, because people much like yourself, you know, the smooth-brained dumb fuck, eat shit-swallowing, paint-chip-eating Neanderthals, usually like to throw that shit around whenever they realize they've got fundamentally nothing at all to work with in that given moment. It's the same reason that retards like you will often throw the word beta and cuck around, despite the fact that you're usually the most beta cuck motherfuckers in the room. Because you're the first one to start crying whenever anyone even remotely varies from your opinion, or you see something that you even remotely dislike, which is relatively harmless, despite the fact you don't agree with it. But let's keep going. Thankfully, I can at least stop them from recommending this channel. Well, if you knew that, then why even bother making this fucking comment? I'm confused. I don't understand why you would make a fucking comment instead of just saying, fuck this guy, I don't care. It's perplexing to look at from that standpoint, because you are actively demonstrating that you are entirely fucking aware that you can completely ignore that I fucking exist after that point. But instead, you've immediately decided to make a big fucking song and dance production about it. What the fuck for? Like, I'm just confused as to the idiocy here, because it just comes off as, I know what I'm doing and I know I kinda look stupid, saying that I would not recommend it, but I'm still fucking here. Why not just ignore it then? Pretend I don't exist like most people that don't like me do. Or is this going to be turning into one of those things where you make like 45 to 50 fucking comments crying about fundamentally nothing and saying even less? I got 51 seconds in before I couldn't help but scoff about the tiny incel attempting to critique the larger locale-esque incel's appearance. Well, the difference is, though, is that I'm not an incel. I don't think Jake is even an incel either, but I do think that he acts like a dumbass and he does a lot of stupid shit to constantly get people's attention on him. Because it seems like whenever his AFL content takes a dip in views, he needs to suddenly do something ridiculous to get people's attention again. But the fact is, this dude has talked enough shit about other people to warrant a couple pot shots back, so I don't want to hear shit about, I had to scoff at this. Why? Why am I not allowed to talk shit about the person that talks shit about me? If you don't know about the situation involving this guy and my back and forth over the years, then why even bother saying anything? If you literally come in with not understanding shit that's going on, why say anything? It's like the jackass that walks into the middle of the movie theater and starts saying the movie sucks during some big climactic scene, because they've decided that being in the middle of the movie with no idea who the characters are or what the plot entails is somehow the best way to blindly scream about the content of the movie. You look like Bryce Mitchell's incestuous cousin. This coming from the person whose picture is literally a skull with what appears to be hydrocephalus swelling. Is that an x-ray of your head, or are you just talking smack to talk smack because mommy and daddy didn't pay you attention today? Keep in mind, your account was made 6 months ago. I did a little bit of a dig, just to see who or what I might be dealing with. You made an account fairly recently, so my guess is you're probably some dipshit I've butted heads with before, who needed to suddenly throw another temper tantrum under a new account because for whatever fucking reason you couldn't stick to your own guns. Or You're a rando that just completely materialized out of nowhere, randomly joined the website within the last 6 months, and decided that instead of trying to explore content that he would actually enjoy, to bitch about something he's mildly antagonized over, because, you know, that sounds like a productive waste of a person's time. Why would you do that? Why would you go to someone who you don't like already, just to bitch about not liking them? What's the point? It's one thing if you're actually doing a critique or a commentary or a response to a video. That I can give you. I can give you that license. When it comes down to actually being constructive or derivative. But when it comes down to being a spastic babbling fuckwit that turns up to cry in the comments of a total stranger because you don't understand shit about them, that seems to be more of a you problem. Just saying. If you're going to critique locales, do it with your face. Do it without your face on the screen so people don't know you're a locale too. But I'm not a locale because my appearance should not automatically dictate whether or not I'm a locale. My antics or lack thereof should be the deciding factor in such a thing. If you're literally so fucking stupid that you look at me for less than a minute and decide that I'm a locale, you're a fucking dumbass. If your brain is literally that fucking rotted and fucking smooth that the first things that come out of my mouth are the only things that you will judge me by, entirely without any sort of secondary opinion from anyone else that actually knows me or listens to me on the regular, then that seems to be a massive bit of folly on your part, because it seems like you're just doing dumb shit, and then trying to seem like doing the dumb shit was a display of intellect. You don't come off as this 5,000 IQ 4D chess-playing individual when you talk a bunch of shit to a total stranger, for no reason at all except for the fact that you saw their video on the recommended feed and decided to throw a fucking temper tantrum. Seriously, you think this comment comes off as funny to the people around you? No. Comes off as the fucking, I guess you could say, the exacerbated ramblings of a sad little fuck who needs to take pot shots at someone else because for whatever reason, he had a shit day. Like, I'm sorry that you found out that someone you know might be fucking your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever the fuck has happened to your day that made you such a bitter, angry prick. But don't take your problems out on me. I'm not the one at fault for your mom fucking the neighbor and your dad fucking the neighborhood dog. Like, I'm not responsible for your family disintegrating or whatever bullshit might have fucked up your day just so you could throw a tantrum to me. That's entirely on the world for the shit that it's doing around you. Don't be taken to the internet to cry about bullshit and then say I'm somehow responsible for the shit you go through, because I'm not. Seriously, you remind me of this guy that a few friends of mine and an acquaintance had to deal with. First name's Todd, not going to say his last name because I don't want him getting harassed, even though I'm not really a fan of how he acted. Todd would go up to everyone and start saying that a random motherfucker that everyone used to be friends with or acquainted with ruined his life because the person decided to basically just excommunicate all of his old friends. And every time someone would talk about anything, Todd would find the reason to bring this other motherfucker up non-stop all the time, every time, regardless of who's involved. And that's kind of the person you strike me as. I could be wrong. I will actually give you the benefit of the doubt and say it's possible I could be wrong. But the fact is, that's the kind of motherfucker you strike me as. You strike me as the kind of person that runs up and starts schizo-babbling about people that have mildly offended you or bothered you in any way, regardless of their complete and utter lack of involvement in your life. Anyway, I'm just gonna say this. If you don't like me, that's perfectly fine, but don't go making fucked up jumps to conclusions because you're pissed off about something else that happened during the day. I'd rather not have to be your emotional piñata or tampon whenever you decide to start crying about nothing and you see me as a convenient excuse. Fuck you very much. Have a nice week, sir.